The following program is a production of Naleo TV.
Welcome to Island Science. On this show, we learn about science and technology happening right here on Hawaii Island. Today on Island Science, we visit Pacific Biodiesel in Keau, Hawaii, as we learn about what they are doing to convert a waste product at most restaurants into a usable source of fuel for our community. We're here at Pacific Biodiesel in Keau, Hawaii, and I'm here with Jenna. And Jenna, thanks for joining me today. Can you talk to me a little bit about what you guys do here?
This is our biodiesel plant here in Keau. We make about 5.5 million gallons of fuel a year of biodiesel that can go into any diesel vehicle. We start with used cooking oil, mainly from restaurants or from animal fat, and we can process it here using our transesterification technology into finished fuel for the fuel tank.
You know, for people who, they don't really know, is biodiesel different from regular diesel?
It is molecularly different. There's no petroleum product in it. We start completely with a vegetable or animal product. It's also very similar, burns very similar to how diesel does.
Yeah, so essentially I could take my truck here, I could fill up with biodiesel and it'll work the same way.
Yep, you'll run your vehicle just the same way, no conversion needed. Just put it right in the fuel tank.
How long has Pacific Biodiesel been around?
We started this plant in 2013, so it's been about 9 years that we've been operating here.
Originally, this Pacific Biodiesel began in Maui, is that correct?
Right, yeah, we started in Maui in 1995 with our first biodiesel plant out there, which was much smaller than this one. And since then, we've built 12 other biodiesel plants around the country. Currently, this is the only one that we are operating here ourselves.
Tell me a little bit about, the growth of the company. Over 9 years, it's expanded a lot.
We have about 100 employees now statewide between Oahu, Maui, and Big Island. About 40 or 50 of those employees are here right in Keau. And so we've really grown from our first plant in Maui as a statewide organization.
Can you talk to me about the benefits of using biodiesel as opposed to regular diesel?
First, we love that it's a renewable fuel we can make here locally, but also it's biodegradable, it's non-toxic, it's very safe to handle, it's non-flammable. So it's safe to work with and safe if we spill it into the environment, it will degrade and become part of the earth.
Can you share to me the importance of, for our island and our INA to help sustainability on our island, and Pacific Biodiesel plays a big role in that, I'm sure.
Yeah, we think it's really important to be moving ourselves away from fossil fuels, and this is really a piece that can help us get there now. We can put this right into our vehicles today. We don't have to wait to convert our whole fleet over to something else. So we think this is really important for causing real change today and also helping our community today because we're making local jobs now. So we're also addressing an environmental problem on the restaurant side with the cooking oil. It used to be that all that cooking oil from restaurants went into the landfill and became part of our waste problem, and now we're able to convert it into energy and replace another problem of fossil fuel. So
it sounds like the operation's in full swing right now, so let's go take a look inside.
All right, great. Check it out.
Cool.
So this is our facilities control room where we control the whole process of how we make the biodiesel fuel. You can see they can watch all of the different systems. We have about 12 different systems going at any given time, and so our operators are really good at multitasking and watching lots of different pieces of equipment at once. But it's heavily computer controlled to where we can watch all of the systems right in this room. So that makes it much more manageable with just the 2 or 3 staff that we have here at a time. And this shows our initial input. This is all of the cooking oil that we bring in straight out of the fryer will look like this. You can see it's pretty viscous and thick. And we'll separate it using alcohol and a catalyst into the biodiesel and then a glycerin byproduct. So we take those 2 products and we run them through 2 different systems to clean them up and come out with our 100% pure biodiesel and then 80% pure glycerin material.
Glycerin is one of the byproducts of the refining process, which has antimicrobial properties that can be used to make soap and other wound care products. It is especially useful for sensitive skin care and can be found in moisturizers.
So a lot of our biodiesel plant is actually reprocessing our byproducts, trying to make those as pure as possible so we don't have to throw them away and can give them a usable life. After we go through the whole transesterification process and distillation, this is our end product, our biodiesel fuel. So this will go right into the fuel tank here. Yeah, we get about a 90 to 95% yield off of a gallon of cooking oil.
You're saying cooking oil, so you're saying things like vegetable oil, olive oil, those types of things?
So we can use any kind of vegetable oil. It can be soybean, canola. We also do use some animal fat in our process, which is called tallow, as to not waste any of the animal. They render all that down into fat, and we can use that for our process as well. Whatever the restaurant's using, we end up with a mixture of it, and that's what we process.
How many partners or how many local restaurants you would say on the island are working with you folks?
Probably the majority of the restaurants are working with us to recycle their cooking oil.
This is a 24-hour operation, I'm sure.
Right, so we run 24/7. We have about 40 staff that just run the biodiesel plant, between the operators, the maintenance technicians, the loading bay team, and our management staff. Just say we have a really good team of staff that makes the fuel here. And a lot of our staff comes from the Big Island, and we've been training them up to be able to work with this material. They've done a really good job of picking up the process really quickly, but they all do a really good job of keeping the plant running and making sure we're making really good fuel.
I mean, out of like 5 million gallons, how often are you folks testing, or like what is it on a daily basis?
Yeah,
or?
every day throughout the whole shift, several times a shift, they're testing, taking samples and testing. They're even testing the byproducts, the glycerin material. They're testing the methanol, the alcohol that we reprocess. So as you can see, his sample tray over there, they're constantly going out and taking batches of samples like that. So they're wanting to know how much water is in it, in the oil when we start, and how much water is in the fuel when we're done. We don't like water in the fuel, obviously. That's not good for the engine. But they can adjust the recipe and the way we process based on how much water is in the initial oil. We're bringing in a waste material. It's always different.
Yeah.
You can't control exactly what it's going to look like when you get it from the restaurant or from the rendering plant. So we're always adjusting to meet what the material needs to be able to process well. We do our final testing in Salem, Oregon, so we have to send off fuel samples to a third-party lab at the very end of the process, but we want to make sure that it meets that spec before it gets to the end, and that way we can reprocess material if it isn't looking like it's working out.
Al, thanks for joining me. You're the plant manager here. Can you share with me a little bit about the process and how everything's made?
So the process is we take used cooking oil and we produce biodiesel out of it. We have a collection side to our facility. So, homeowners, it doesn't even have to be businesses. If you've got used cooking oil at home, we do have a collection side in our lower lot. You can bring your used cooking oil and we'll recycle it. Out of the used cooking oil and grease trap material, we send it through the plant. We have a new side to our plant, which is our pretreatment area. And what we do is we pre-treat the oil that comes in before it actually goes into the plant. We clean up the oil, we filter, we hit it with some heat. We send it through our leaf pressure filter, and then the oil comes out clean and we can process it in our facility. There's a recipe that we use to break that chain in the molecule in the oil, to be able to separate out the three different pieces. One is the ester, which is biodiesel. The other one is glycerin, and the last one is free fatty acids. Once the oil goes into the plant, once it leaves the pretreatment, it goes into the plant. That's where we start the process of the reaction.
A lot of the process is also done with a lot of self-sufficiency too, right? With the kind of fuel you're using to process it, everything is all being put on yourself, right?
The plant runs on our generator. The generator runs on the biodiesel that we produce. So it kind of goes in a circle.
With all the employees here, it's a very nice, clean facility, you know, and it's, you know, especially for Hawaii Island, you know, we really care about our sustainability and, you know, making sure we take care of our environment.
We try to keep everything as clean as possible because, you know, anything that lands on the ground, you know, potentially could get into the ground. You know, that's not good. So, you know, everybody here is conscious about, you know, what we do. They want to protect the environment. And so a lot of them come into this job with the mindset of, you know, doing good for, you know, the state of Hawaii. What
is your background? How did you get into this field of work?
I used to own a restaurant before. I was introduced to a backyard biodiesel producer. I, you know, came here about 8 years ago. Pacific Biodiesel gave me the opportunity to learn. And from there, I continued learning the skills to be able to do this. And I became the facilities manager at one point. And then from there, the plant manager opened up for me. And I've been doing it for a little over 3 years now.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about this area.
So this is our loading area. All of our trucks come in here with our materials. We bring containers in with cooking oil from around the state and a little bit off the west coast as well. So all of our material comes in through this area. We're piped into the plant. And then our finished biodiesel comes out through this meter, goes either into a fuel truck or into a fuel container. And then we send that to our customers on island or around the state.
What are some of the biggest customers folks that utilize here?
The biggest user of biodiesel right now is Hamakua Energy up in Honoka'a for their power plant. We also sell to Hawaiian Electric on Oahu, and then we have large fleets such as City and County of Honolulu. Helco and Miko are using it in their fleet, and so we've got a really good mix of customers. Beyond the fleets, we also have individuals that use it in their cars and trucks. We have folks who use it in tractors and boats, all kinds of equipment. Anything that's got a diesel engine can run this fuel.
My name is Scott Valentino. I'm the president of Pacific Current, which is a subsidiary of Hawaiian Electric Industries. We are the owner of the Hamakua Energy facility here behind me. Yeah, so we have a business contractual relationship with Pacific Biodiesel. It was established back in 2019 when we entered into a contract to actually replace petroleum diesel with biodiesel at this facility. Today we operate about 30% of our generation comes from biodiesel, and the other 70% roughly comes from naphtha, which is a petroleum product, but we hope to increase the consumption of biodiesel over time.
How important is it for Pacific Current to have these sustainable, renewable energy products?
It's essential. This is the only facility we own that actually burns conventional fossil fuels, and we look to actually increase the alternative renewable fuels over time. From a greenhouse gas footprint perspective, it's about as clean as you can get. Pacific Biodiesel has their refinery to produce biodiesel about 45 miles down the road in Keau, and it's a great story. They're able to deliver the biodiesel coming out of the refinery in biodiesel fueled trucks. So we are actually able to consume it locally produce biodiesel on Hawaii Island and consume it on Hawaii Island and provide energy to the grid by doing so. This facility will continue to operate into the future, and we look to transition it to more renewable fuels over time as they become more economically available and readily available.
My name is Harold Souza, and I'm the plant manager for Hamakua Energy. I've been here for 11 years. Born and raised on Big Island, grew up here all my life. And I started here as an instrumentation tech and an operator, and I crossed over to a mechanic as well, and then eventually here I am. All right, so behind us, a fuel truck is unloading biodiesel into a facility, and it's pumped through these pumps up to a storage tank that can hold up to 600,000 gallons of fuel. And then from there, we take it and we pump it up to our units and we consume it at the combustion turbines. Having biodiesel on site is great for us, for our community as well, because we're using something that's on island, it's renewable, it brings us kind of forward into the future of power generation for the island and what our goals are for the island. So with that, I guess in our community, it kind of opens up jobs and opportunities for people as well, because, local drivers, everything that's being made, we got more tradesmen because we have a refinery on island, right? So that's an opportunity for the next generation as well, because I'm sure this facility will be around for them as well. Our typical day-to-day would be checks of the facility to make sure everything's operating properly, and we would run requests from Helco to put power on the grid. So we run 2 units, combustion turbines and a steam turbine. And generally we run 1 combustion turbine and 1 steam turbine, and we would generate about 35 megawatts. Our combustion turbines create heat from burning fuel, and then we recycle the heat through a HRSG, a heat recovery steam generation unit, basically boiling water, and then we use the steam to power our steam turbine, which creates additional power. So we even recycle the steam and the heat coming out of the combustion turbine makes us a little bit more efficient. It's been a great relationship. So we started off small, and then as Pacific Biodiesel grew, so did our consumption from them as well. And as they continue to grow, I would see us continuing to consume more biodiesel until the point where we would have majority of our fuel being burned with biodiesel.
I guess future plans, like what would you say would be the next goal for Pacific Biodiesel?
The next goal for us is to expand our feedstock material base by growing some more material here locally. Right now, we can't fill this whole biodiesel plant with used cooking oil collected within the state. So as I mentioned, we have to bring some from the West Coast and from the mainland. We'd really like to grow everything here so that we're collecting waste oil here and growing cooking oil to go into this biodiesel plant. And then from there we can expand and possibly build another biodiesel plant in another location.
Yeah, because the capacity of our island can't even fulfill the needs of this plant itself, right?
Right, we make a small amount compared to what the state uses in diesel fuel, so we'd like to make a little bit more to help displace more fossil fuel. This biodiesel plant could supply about half of the on-road diesel use of the Big Island, so there's quite a big demand out there for diesel fuel, and so we'd love to make more so that more people have access to this renewable fuel.
In addition to fuel production, Pacific Biodiesel has also founded Made in Hawaii Naturals, which produces premium cooking oil for Hawaii's chefs.
All right, so we're here at the crushing mill, and we're in the clean room right now. I'm here with Jamie. Jamie, you're the operations manager of this side of the plant. Can you tell me a little bit about what you folks do down here?
Yeah, so here what we do is actually we take waste macnuts that are typically composted, actually, and what we do, they're still clean, they're perfectly edible, and so what that gives us is cooking oil, and we have a secondary product of animal feed.
Talk me through that process. Okay, so you bring it in from a local farmer. By the way, where do you primarily get your macadamia from?
Right now we source it from Hamakua Macnut is our main provider, and yeah, so they're all Big Island grown. That's one of our main quality parameters, is that it has to be grown on a Big Island. So macnut comes in, we load it into our oil press. It's a mechanical extraction, and it separates the oil from the macnuts. What we end up with is oil and what we call meal, and the meal is bagged and sold as the animal food, pigs, chickens. The macnut oil is then put into a vessel and it's settled. It separates kind of the fine particulates out of the oil with time, and then we do a final filtration, and then it's bottled. We strive to kind of adhere to a natural process in our farming as well. There's been some wrongs in previous agriculture ventures here in the state that we're trying to avoid. So we don't do pesticides, we don't do herbicides, and and we strive to do everything in natural and best practices. Macadamia nut actually has a very long shelf life. It's an inherent quality of the oil. And it's different in the sense that other cooking oils are actually typically refined by bleaching, deodorizing, and put through a heavy kind of process. Basically, they're heated up. The quality of the oil is much less. So we always strive for high quality with our oils.
About how much macnuts are you folks processing, let's say, per month or per year?
You know, we don't really measure the poundage of the macnuts, but we're looking at kind of the volume of the oil that we're producing. So, you know, we're typically a lower volume, probably. Our press is small, so we're high quality, low volume, probably around 50 gallons in a day.
You folks are taking a step further, and we're actually producing a high quality product and being sustainable. So it's a win-win on both fronts.
I think agriculture, obviously cooking oil starts from an agriculture source. And so the next step would be to grow crops here locally to produce oil. And there's a lot of availability in terms of land that we need to produce more oil to increase our supply for biodiesel locally.
And it's not just macnuts too. There are other crops that can be used.
So the other primary crop we're looking at and what we're actively farming is sunflower. It's a short-term crop, so it grows quickly, about 100 days. And so we're able to do up to 3 rotations in a year of sunflower here with our local climate. It's something that we're growing on Maui currently, and a big part of the sustainability model of the company.
Share a little bit about yourself. I mean, how did you get into this field, and why do you love doing what you do here?
I started off on a sustainable project with a family business, and we were here doing farming, growing a local crop for oil for biodiesel production, and basically kind of joined forces with Pacific Biodiesel. And so, you know, I have a background in farming, a background in oil processing, and everything just kind of makes sense. It's kind of a perfect storm of things going on.
A more recent project for the company is their mobile biodiesel refueling stations, which gives customers 24/7 access to their locally produced 100% renewable fuel.
So these are our newest biodiesel stations. We can set them down anywhere. So it's got solar panels to create all the energy to run the motors and the pumps. It's got a cell phone connection for communications, and that's all we need to run these stations. We'll deliver fuel out to them wherever they are, and it'll be available for the public. We just set up our first one in Ma'alaia Harbor on Maui, and it's accessible for boats and cars and trucks. We'll be looking to roll another one out in the Kona side of the Big Island next month, and from there we'll be setting more of these up. Really excited about them.
Well, Jenna, I mean, we've gone through a lot of different things here, and we really appreciate you guys' time. But coming to you here now, like, what made you get into this field, and what makes it so unique and special for you?
Well, this is actually my family started this company back in 1995 on Maui with that first biodiesel plant, and so I've been somewhat involved since then. I've always seen it coming up around me as I was growing up. When I graduated from UH Manoa with an environmental studies degree, I decided that this is really what I wanted to do to make a difference in the community. So I started with the company back in about 2007. I did a lot of different things around the company, including sales, worked with our restaurant partners, did our supply chain and logistics for a while, and then most recently became the director of operations here, based here at the Big Island plant.
You folks really have taken a real big stance on making sure that you are involved in our community in many different ways. I mean, that's important for our island. Yeah, where do you see this company going in the future? What is most important to it at this moment, and then where do you see it going?
Yeah, we feel like it's really important for us to keep diversifying what we're doing and how we're helping all the pieces come together. You know, we've started by making fuel, but then we quickly realized that we have to help grow our material to help to feed our biodiesel plant. And that transitioned into working with the farmers, working with the ranchers. Now we're making cooking oil and animal feed and all kinds of things, but they really all do tie back into energy security and renewable energy here for the island. So we're finding that it's really important for us to be involved in all of these things, but also to help others be a part of it as well. So we don't need to do everything, we just need to help spur the action, and that lets more people be involved in the renewable energy picture.
What can people at home right now viewing this program, what can they do as themselves, you know, to help contribute to this?
There's a few different ways that people are involved. There's different sites on the islands, on the different islands where people can bring their used cooking oil from home. So we do encourage people, don't throw it down the drain, don't throw your oil in the trash. You can bring it here to recycle it, and we'll take that oil and put it through our refinery. People can also drive on the fuel if they've got a diesel car or truck or any kind of diesel tractor, generator, boat. They can make the switch right now to biodiesel very easily. We have stations on the different islands, and as we mentioned, we're trying to expand and make the distribution a little easier so people can get access to that on a personal level. Also, people can support us by checking with the restaurants that they go to and making sure they're recycling their oil. That all comes to our biodiesel plant. So making sure that the different places that you go to are doing the right thing and recycling.
So thank you so much, Jenna, for everything. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on the program.
Wow, it was so awesome to learn about Pacific Biodiesel and how they're contributing to sustainability on our island. That wraps up this episode of Island Science. Until next time, aloha.
For more information, visit www.biodiesel.com.
The preceding program was a production of Naleo TV.